conspiracy theory, could I just focus on positive actions and thoughts?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And
follow the formula.
And how do we determine what kind of information is a conspiracy theory?
Well, don't accept anything at face value. Do your own research. Find out how many ways you can verify something. How many sources will verify a certain thing, as opposed to another way of looking at it. A lot of conspiracy theories actually are bereft of a lot of valid information. A lot of validation is simply not really possible. No matter what a lot of people may think, they're not necessarily correct in saying, oh, well, this has been proven. Oh, well, this has been validated. Do not accept it as anything like a fact. Accept it as an opinion, as a perspective when you first hear of any information. But take the time, if you are willing, to research and validate how many sources can validate it, and have the discernment to know the difference between an opinion and something that is actually able to be validated with the idea of empirical evidence. Because empirical evidence is nothing more than the idea of understanding a reinforcement of the consensus reality about what you all believe would be true for you. So it's really about looking at what really serves the consensus, what really serves all of you the best, instead of creating the idea of dissociation from the consensus, at least the positive direction of the consensus. So if it contains a lot of confusion, if it contains a lack of reinforcement of evidence from several different sources, then treat it as such and treat it as something that may be more of an opinion rather than a fact.
And if there's fear generated in the information that's given, is that a method of determining whether it's correct or not?
Yes, because even if it is true, at least some of the things that can be true, don't necessarily have to generate fear. So fear may be a general barometer to decide when it is something that is representative of a theory or an opinion, as opposed to factual, evidentiary truth. But the idea is that even the truth in some people can generate a lot of fear. But you have to have the discernment, again, as to whether or not it is something that actually is required to experience fear in something that is true. So you have two ways of determining the idea, by first and foremost knowing that certain things truly do exist as conspiracies, but why should that generate fear within you just knowing that?
Okay, and what's the difference between a conspiracy theory or new information? How do we discern that?
Well, it's the same answer. Look at new information as an opinion. Don't accept it as fact, no matter how many people say that it's true or how many people decide to believe in it. Allow yourself to determine for yourself on your own what the evidence actually is that supports it from several different sources, as to whether it is even impactful in your life at all. Does it divert you from following your passion in certain ways? Does it take you down what many people on your planet refer to as the rabbit hole? Does it distract you from being your true self? Does it get you caught up in the idea of subversive elements and subversive ideas and giving your power away? Does it make you more fearful than you otherwise would be if you simply considered the idea objectively? Look for all the signs that take you out of yourself, that, shall we say, lure you into a kind of cult-like behavior of going along with an idea just because other people are going along with it. Is it actually something that benefits you and serves you in a way that would actually make a difference in your life? Moving forward by acting on the formula will allow yourself to alleviate all of these concerns. Also, in the steps upcoming that we will deliver, there will be actions that will help you make these determinations as to what it is you can focus on that might be representative of actual conspiracies, and how to incorporate your relationship to them in your lives. So we haven't delivered all the steps yet that will actually handle some of the questions you are asking now. But for now, we would simply say, remain neutral. Don't assume anything is a fact with new information. Do your own research to find out if there are other sources that validate it, and look at what people are saying does validate certain conspiracy theories, because sometimes they're not approaching it in any rational or logical way at all. They're simply accepting another set of opinions and treating them as facts. So you have to look at all of that. For now, that's sufficient. We will supply other ways in which to determine these things in the steps we will deliver that are upcoming.
And is it true that our planet is a flat Earth covered with a dome and surrounded with a wall of ice?
No. Again, a conspiracy theory. Because there isn't really any facts to substantiate that particular vision. The idea of a flat Earth is simply an erroneous way of interpreting that people are starting to sense that physical reality is, in a sense, kind of flat. In other words, it isn't real, it's a projection. But they're interpreting the idea of the flatness of the idea, the flatness of the projection, the unsubstantial nature of the projection, they're interpreting it and projecting it into physical reality. And that's not the case. That's not the issue. Your world is a sphere. But they're taking the idea of their sensing of the flat energy of physical reality, that it's not really real, that it's an illusion, that it's a projection, and they're taking it too far and projecting it into actual physicality. That's not the case. So no, your Earth is not actually a flat disk. But physical reality is a flat thing. It's not real. It's a projection of consciousness. That's why many people are interpreting it as flatness, because it doesn't have the same dimensional substance as spirit. They're just taking it too far.
It's really fascinating.
Yes.
Can you expand on the concept of a you? Like when I say I, what do I mean? Is my consciousness separate from my personality, and how do they relate?
It's not separate, but your personality is an aspect of your overall consciousness. And this is why we say when you ask certain questions, you have to know what level you're coming from when you say I or you. Because again, the personality version of you can ask a question and you can say I, or the soul, in a sense, can be asking the question, and then that's the I you're referring to, the greater being, or the oversoul, in a sense, can be asking the question, and then you're coming from that level of I. So, for example, we often use the concept of the experience of reincarnation to illustrate this point. You can say as a physical person, was I another person in another life? As a physical person, no, you were not. You are the physical person you are. Other physical people exist at the same time because time is an illusion. It doesn't mean the experience of time isn't real, but time itself is an illusion created by your consciousness to experience physical reality. So all physical beings, all physical personalities, all exist at the same time on different frequencies. And if someone exists at the same time you do, then your personality cannot also be their personality. The two are individual personalities. The soul is also an individuation to some degree. So each personality has its own soul. But the oversoul is a multitude of souls, and therefore a multitude of personalities. So the oversoul can say, I have this personality, and I have that personality, and I have that personality simultaneously. But the individual soul and the physical personality cannot really say, I also was that person. So it depends on what level you're coming from, what level the question is coming from, that determines what version of I or you is being referred to. So more discernment about the fact that those exist as different perspectives, as different levels, will help address and alleviate the confusion that may come up when someone asks such a question by determining what level of I are they coming from when they ask it.
Yes. Yeah. Would it be helpful in making open contact?
Yes, it can be. Absolutely. Because it allows you to begin to take actions that allow you to engage with other members of different civilizations. So by all means, anything that allows you to take up a more active role and meet us halfway and have an open invitation and a willingness to participate, a willingness to engage, a willingness to interact, will move the concept and the experience forward.
Okay. This person is asking, why should we attempt contact? Why work towards it? Where is this leading to? I mean, this person is saying they're excited about all that because, sure, it's something interesting and fascinating to happen in our ordinary lives. But why should we work towards that? What happens next?
There are no shoulds. You don't have to work towards it. As we said in our monologue, you can move in that direction or you can choose not to. You can choose to do some of the actions in the steps that we are suggesting, or you can choose to do some of them, or you can choose to do none of them. It's completely up to you. So we would answer your question by asking you, why are you involved in these conversations with us at all then? Do you get some benefit out of the information that we share with you? Can you imagine how much more beneficial information from different members of the Interstellar Alliance may be in terms of you choosing to adapt some of that information into your life and expand your awareness of what's going on, not only on your own planet, but in the universe at large? So it's up to you to exercise your imagination and creativity in understanding how much more expansive your experience of life could be when allowing yourself to move forward toward the interaction with many different perspectives, many different kinds of beings and civilizations, in much the same way that you expand your reality by choosing different friends, different experiences on your own planet. So it's really up to you to decide if you're getting benefit out of the information we have been sharing with you for the past 40 of your years. Can you not imagine how much more beneficial it would be to start engaging with a multitude of such beings who have all sorts of different information that could benefit you as well? But again, it's up to you. So there are no shoulds. You have free reign and free will in determining what it is you're going to get out of making connections to members of the Interstellar Alliance.
Okay. If you don't do the social experiments, how will this decrease our chances of contact?
Well, it will not decrease them, but it will not increase them. So the idea is that these steps are designed specifically now, at this time, involving the actions that you are willing to take, specifically to increase the vibrational rate and align the vibrational rate toward more interaction with ETs that are part of the Interstellar Alliance. But again, it's up to you to determine what percentage you will be willing to take action on. And that will be directly representative of the percentage of the vibration that you will achieve to create alignment with the Interstellar Alliance. So let us say, for example, that over the course of the next year of your time, including step 1, there will be roughly 11 steps. And then going on into the next year after that, there will be more steps, perhaps of a different nature. But looking at it on an annual basis, a year-to-year basis of all the steps, let us say you are willing to do all 11 and every single aspect of them. Well, obviously, doing all of them would put you in a position to be closer in frequency to the idea of the Interstellar Alliance connection to whatever degree we have taken you there at that point. Whereas doing half the steps would bring you up to about 50% of the vibrational frequency necessary to experience where we are guiding you in your interactions with the Interstellar Alliance and so on and so forth. So you can look at it as a relatively representational 1-to-1 ratio of how many of the steps you do as representative of the percentage of the frequency you will achieve within you.
Fascinating. Are we truly ready for this experiment? So many people still live in fear of ETs because of the way we were programmed to believe they are dangerous and evil.
Asking if you're truly ready is a personal issue, subjective to each individual. By asking, are we truly ready, you may be implying that you're not. However, if you're asking the question on behalf of other people who may still be resonating on a vibration of fear, obviously they may not be ready. And this is why we give you free rein to decide how many of these steps and aspects of these steps and actions you are willing to take. It's up to you. So if you are not as ready as some others, most likely you will not take as many of the steps, not take as many of the actions. But again, we leave it up to you.
This person says they have only recently started trying to raise their vibration and get into alignment, but they feel mostly in their life that they've always been late to the game, so to speak. Will those who do not figure their stuff out in time be left behind during the vibrational shift of Earth? The analogy you'd given was being on different trains, and eventually you won't be able to switch what train you're on. Is it too late to make sure I'm on the right train?
No, it is not too late. And by asking this question and examining yourself, you have given the appearance of being on the train that will lead you in the direction of the kind of Earth that you prefer to experience. The idea is that it's not impossible for someone to switch from one train to another eventually, but it may be more challenging because you may divest yourself of the opportunities to do so. They may become less visible to you as opportunities to switch. But the idea is not that you're left behind, it's that you have made a choice and you will move forward in the direction of the choices that you have made. We would not frame it that you have been left behind because that implies that one choice is intrinsically better than another, when in fact the idea of going on a different train from the train you're on may be exactly what that person has chosen for the best path for themselves to experience. So we wouldn't frame it as being left behind. We would simply frame it as making the choice that is correct for you. Because again, remember, you will all have a chance in spirit to evaluate the choices you made in your life review, and you will apply that information to the next thing you will choose to do. So it's not about being left behind. It's about simply making a choice and being on the train you have chosen.